going to debunk this week. I told them once, so they should get it. Isn't that right?
That's true. That's it. That's all you got to do. I've seen it time again. That's all you got to do, Adam. Say, hey, you go do this, and crystal clear. Just executed to the letter.
Well, you mentioned the thousand how questions we've answered over the years. We've probably heard this maybe 1,000 times too, right? Well, I already told them this, right? It's some version of that. I told them.
That's when they're covering their butt,
Yeah.
B-U-T-T, and they're embarrassed because whatever they were in charge of didn't get done because the team didn't deliver it right, and they're saying, "Oh, I told them once."
I told them multiple times. We'll hear that too. I've told them numerous times over time, and they can't feed it back. And it could be everything from what you'd like them to do on a certain project to where the company's going, to where you see them as part of the company. There's a lot of things that you can tell your team, and they may not always hear it. And depending what you're talking about, if you have too many good things going together, they aren't going to hear it all. Even though you've told them, maybe you can even tell me the day and the time when you told them. Okay, maybe they have to hear. They have to hear it more than once usually.
And it's okay. It's okay to do this. It seems that so much on our coaching program here, and on the radio as well as in practice, the word communication is just overly simplified, but it's probably the most complex word in the dictionary. It's just very difficult to communicate your thoughts exactly the way you'd like them done to somebody else sitting right across from you, hearing every word, even if it's brief. It's very, very difficult. And it takes patience, it takes repetition, and don't be afraid to do that, with your team, individually and as a group. Hey, I heard this before, boss, and well, you're going to hear it again because, quite frankly, I'm going to not only guess, but I'd be willing to bet that the team didn't hear it the way I wanted it done. I'm pretty good, but I can't really communicate exactly the way a good communicator would, but I am a good communicator. So what do? We go around in circles. So talk about it. It's okay. And as a leader, you have to direct. You have to direct the group. And don't be afraid, and be humble enough to say, look, you guys may have not heard this right. Let me try it again. It might be the 8th time. If it's a big deal, you should be talking about it often.
Well, I put down a couple of words, and you had one of them, which is patience. I had patience and persistence, which is pretty similar to what you were saying, Jack, in terms of it can be frustrating at times. And we've had numerous clients. We had one just about 6 weeks ago. He was beside himself that some of his key team members couldn't articulate the vision and mission of the company. Do you know how many times I've told him that and gone through this? And he was so disappointed by it, and we had to kind of calm him down a bit. So look, it's not that unusual. Part of the challenge is when it comes to the communication, as the owner, you have a lot of things going through your mind, and as you fire things off, you're assuming people have it and it's kind of handed off to them. Well, they have a lot of things going through their mind as well, because they're doing things day to day too. And a lot of things might be related to the company. Things might be related to what's going on in their personal lives. But again, they have a lot of things going through their mind as well. So the idea of communicating it multiple times is very, very key, especially for your key points. So things like where the company's going, how things are going to be working, what you want people doing, to make sure that it's crystal clear. The best way we know how to make sure that it's crystal clear, to Jack's point earlier, is if you have people present it back to you.
That's right.
Because
presenting is so important.
Well, it comes back to there's this phrase of active listening. And what does that mean? Well, to me, active listening is always you have to have people feed stuff back to you. Let me pause. Let me make sure you just heard what I said. It doesn't necessarily need to be word for word, but I got to make sure you're capturing the essence of it. Because at times you'd be amazed how often it happens where you think somebody's got you, and when they try to present it back to you, it doesn't happen. And we had that a lot, especially early on for our coaching, where we would teach our clients how to understand their financial statements, and we were doing a little bit too much talking and not enough having them present to us. And we realized after a few missteps along the way, where we thought after several months of kind of taking somebody through their financials, that they got it. because they were smiling and nodding. Yep, got it, got it, got it. But when we turned the paper to them and had them start to try to present, we realized, in fact, they didn't really got it.
They had no idea. That's right. They had no idea how to express what was right in front of them. What we've been talking about with them for weeks. You know, it's vital for focus and efficiency to have good, clear communication. And clear communication doesn't come by saying something once. Clear communication comes from repeating it. Actually, repeating it probably in different words, different ways. You as the leader, here's what we want to do. You're expressing a goal. You're expressing some direction for the company. And how good are you? How good are you guys out there that basically are trying to direct your team? What do? Do you repeat it oftentimes, or do you get a little frustrated that you have to say it again? I'm claiming here at this point you can't say it enough, especially if it's important, and that avoids a lot of trouble down the line, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment that basically that's what you're after. That's what you're trying to communicate, right?
Well, we know it very well from one of the things that we focus on with our clients all the time, which is the 7 keys to success. And we know that almost every one of our clients couldn't get all 7. It certainly takes months, if not years, for them to kind of start to sink in. But most of them will get 5 or 6 of the 7, and they might miss that 7th one. And for Jack and I, it's helping to reinforce that day in and day out with them to make sure they start to see things that way. And it's key for you to have certain key things that you have your client, or not your clients, but have your team thinking about as well. So, all right, stick around. When we come back, we're going to be revealing the dirty secret of the week. I'm Adam Sunhalter.
And I'm Jack Mancini with Maximum Value Partners. We're business